What if everything you believed in was challenged by the most powerful king in the world? What if the price of your faith was your very life? This is the heart of the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These three young men were placed in an unimaginable position, to bow down and worship a golden statue or face death. But they chose God over everything, showing the world what it truly means to stand firm in faith. In this episode of Story of Grace, we explore how these three heroes defied a king's decree, stood tall in the face of danger, and experienced the miraculous power of God. Stay with us as we uncover their incredible story. The king's command and the golden image King Nebuchadnezzar had no tolerance for disobedience. He was a king who craved control and authority. So he set up a massive golden image and commanded that everyone bow down and worship it. Now imagine being one of the people in that kingdom. You know that everyone else is bowing, yet you refuse to do so. You refuse to follow the crowd because of your faith. That's exactly what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did. Their choice was not an act of defiance, but an act of deep commitment to their faith. When the king issued his decree, they had only one option: to stand firm and honor the God they believed in. They were faced with a dilemma that many of us will face at some point: compromise or courage. But they didn't hesitate. In a world full of pressure to conform, their unwavering loyalty to God set them apart. Refusal to worship the idol. As the sound of music filled the air, everyone in the kingdom knelt before the golden image. Everyone except for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They stood tall and refused to bow. This act of defiance wasn't driven by hate or rebellion. It was driven by faith. They knew that bowing to an idol would violate their faith in God. Their refusal wasn't about making a political statement or trying to upset the king. It was about remaining true to their beliefs. In that moment, they chose not to go along with the crowd. Instead, they stood firm and made it clear that their loyalty was to God alone. The king, enraged by their defiance, couldn't understand why these men would risk everything for something as simple as their belief. But their actions would speak louder than words. The king's wrath and the threat of the fiery furnace. The king's wrath was immediate. His temper flared, and he summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to his palace. He offered them one last chance to bow to the golden image. But their answer was simple and resolute. They would not bow, no matter the cost. The king threatened them with the fiery furnace, a punishment meant to instill fear in anyone who dared to challenge his authority. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't flinch. They had made their decision, and nothing, no threat, no fiery furnace, could make them turn away from their faith. In that moment, they proved that their devotion to God was greater than any threat the king could make. Their response was powerful, a declaration of faith that would become one of the most famous moments in biblical history. A bold declaration of faith. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego spoke boldly in the face of the king's threats. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. But even if he does not, we want you to know, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. This wasn't a casual statement. This was a declaration of unshakable faith. They acknowledged that God had the power to save them, but they also made it clear that their faith was not conditional on their circumstances. Even if God chose not to deliver them, they would still stand firm. Their bold words were a testament to the depth of their commitment to God. In a world that often expects us to compromise, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego show us what it looks like to remain unyielding in our faith, no matter the outcome. The fiery furnace. The furnace was heated to an unimaginable heat, so hot that it killed the soldiers who threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into it. Yet, as they were thrown into the flames, something miraculous happened. Instead of perishing, the three men were walking around in the fire, unharmed. The king, astonished, saw not three figures but four. One of the figures appeared to be divine. Was this an angel? Was God himself walking with them in the fire? The king could hardly believe his eyes. He ordered the men to be brought out, and when they emerged, they were completely unharmed. Their clothes were untouched, and they didn't even smell like smoke. This wasn't just an escape. It was a miracle. The fire had no power over them, because they had placed their trust in a God who is greater than any earthly threat. This moment of divine protection demonstrated that when we trust in God, the miracle of divine protection. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego weren't just saved from the flames, they were protected by the very hand of God. This miracle wasn't just about the survival of three men, it was about the power of God's protection in action. When the flames failed to harm them, it was a powerful reminder that God is in control, even in the most extreme circumstances. The miracle was not just for the three men, but for everyone who witnessed it. It was a testimony to the greatness of God's power and the faithfulness of those who trust in Him. In the face of danger, God proved Himself faithful. This was more than just a rescue from a fiery furnace. It was a proclamation to the world that God's power is greater than any king or kingdom. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's faith had been tested, and it had been rewarded in the most miraculous way. A king's change of heart. Nebuchadnezzar's reaction was nothing short of remarkable. He went from rage to praise, acknowledging the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The very king who had threatened them with death was now declaring the greatness of their God. He issued a decree that anyone who spoke against their God would be punished. This was not just a king acknowledging the power of God, it was a heart changed by the miracle he had witnessed. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't just change the three men. It changed a king's heart. It's a powerful reminder that our faith has the potential to impact those around us in ways we can't even imagine. Nebuchadnezzar's transformation showed that even the most powerful leaders are not beyond the reach of God's influence. Standing firm in faith, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's story isn't just about defying a king. It's about standing firm in your faith, no matter the circumstances. In a world that often pressures us to conform, their story reminds us that true faith requires courage and conviction. Standing firm in our beliefs can be difficult, especially when the world around us is pushing us in the opposite direction. But just as God was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, He promises to be with us when we face our own challenges. Their story encourages us to remain faithful, to trust that God is greater than any threat, and to stand firm in our commitment to Him. No matter what trials we face, we can take comfort in knowing that God's power is greater than any obstacle. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is a testament to the power of unwavering faith. These men showed us that standing firm in your beliefs, even in the face of unimaginable danger, is not only possible, but powerful. If their story inspired you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us on Story of Grace for more incredible stories of faith, courage, and divine intervention. Stay strong and remember, God is always with you, even in the fiercest trials.